3, 2, 1. We're live. Yahoo! All right. So happy Thursday, everyone. And, actually, I've been in this podcast class, and in the podcasting world, what they say is speak to one person. And instead of like the normal general greeting of, hello, everyone, I'm going to speak to just you who are sitting there watching me through this camera and through the internet right now. And today what I want to talk about is this contrast between what pretty much everybody says you're supposed to do when you come onto social media, and you're supposed to give value, and you're supposed to be generous. And when you post anything on social media, and when you make video, go like I'm going live right now, the thing you're supposed to do is you're supposed to show up and give generously to your audience. And that's good. I don't want to say that that's bad, because it's not. It's good. It's a good thing to do. But if that is all you're doing, if all you're doing is saying, here's how you can fix this tire. Here's some aspirin so you can cure your headache. And people go, thank you. And then they go and cure their headache, and boom, they're gone. And it doesn't, from a business standpoint, it's not necessarily moving the needle in terms of getting people to come and actually buy from you. And so I want to talk today about, how do you get people to actually buy from you? What do you do in your videos, in your social media posting, so that people will move across the threshold and actually buy from you? That's what we're talking about today. In fact, there is this one technique that works really well. And the thing that I see, and the thing that I feel myself often, is that we don't want to show up as some kind of salesy, obnoxious, used car salesperson. No, sorry to offend all the used car salespeople, but you do have a reputation that you want to try and change. The whole used car business really needs to upgrade their brand, wouldn't you say? So if you're here and you're joining me, say hello. And let me just jump over here and take a look and see what comments are here. And if you're here, and if anything that I'm talking about today is resonating, if it's resonating with you, what I'd like you to do is to use the light bulb emoji, and in the comments, put a light bulb, and then give your aha. Give the thing that, just say something that resonates. Say some comment that kind of resonates with you around this topic. And the topic is how to use storytelling to sell. How do you use storytelling to sell? And what I want to get to here is that in the world of content marketing, in the world of social media, we are often, bringing our stuff, giving people good information, telling them how to do stuff. And there's nothing terribly wrong with that, but it's not necessarily making that essential connection with people to where they go, oh, this is my person. Because one of the things about what makes people buy, what makes people go over that threshold of going, well, okay, now I'm ready to buy from you. Now I'm ready. I'm here and I'm ready to buy. Here's my credit card. I'm going to give it to you now. How do people get to that place? And I believe, and it's been proven in many studies, that the reason that people buy is from an emotional feeling and an actual interpersonal connection. People don't buy, the thing that you're telling them about. They buy because of how you make them feel. And they buy because of the person. People don't sign up for something. They don't sign up for a program because of the program. They buy because of the person who's going to deliver that program and how connected they feel with that person. And you want to be that person. You want to be the person who they connect with. And so now we get to the place of like, well, okay, so how do you make that connection? How do you do it? And this is where we're going to dive in today, okay? And I have a really great example. So stay with me, because I was over on Reddit of all places. Remember Reddit? if you're a Redditor, give me the Redditor emoji in the comments down below. All right, say I do Reddit. And if you like the whole thing with Reddit where people go up votes and down votes, give me an upvote. Give me one of those upvotes on this video right here. So I was over on Reddit, and recently, in case you didn't know this, Reddit has started live streaming. They've started live streaming on Reddit. So if you didn't know this, now you know. And it's like yet another place, and this is very recent, like it's only been in the last month or so that it's been possible to do a live stream over on the Reddit platform. So now it's mobile, like you just pull out your phone. Excuse me, I need a drink of water here. That's so much better. So you pull out your phone on Reddit, and you can just use their app and go live. It's super simple. And the cool thing is that, I don't know if you know about the whole structure of Reddit, but all over Reddit, there's these places, there's these rooms, and they start with the letter R, which could be construed as Reddit, R for Reddit or R for room. But there's only different rooms, and they all have different topics. So in the live world, it's no different. And so when you go live, you can go live to a particular room, which is a particular category. And I found a section which is called Reddit in the Kitchen. Reddit in the Kitchen. And I thought, that sounds interesting. I wonder what's cooking in the Reddit in the Kitchen place. So I went over there to take a look, and I found this young woman who was, in fact, cooking in her kitchen. And it was this very informal kind of live stream, live vlog. And she was cooking and, preparing her dinner for the dinner. And she was talking a little bit about that. And she was talking about some other stuff. And she had some music on, and she was dancing around the kitchen. And the thing that was most interesting was that she was having this real dialogue back and forth with all the people who were watching. And there were, many people watching, many people commenting, lots and lots of comments coming down the screen. And she's just having this really cool dialogue back and forth. But at one point, someone was asking her, why was she so cocky? And she was going, what? She goes, hey, look, I'm just confident. Like, I'm able to do this because I'm confident. And she got in this thing about confidence. And then she's told this story about herself. And in this process, she was telling a story that was really her story. And by telling her story, she was relating all these things that had happened in her life that basically helped her get to a place of being confident, and the struggle she had with getting to that place of being confident. And many of the examples that she laid out were examples that we could all relate to, And this is where the magic works. Like when you are telling your story, when you actually are telling a truth about yourself, or you're telling a truth about something in the world, or you're telling a truth about whatever character in the story that you're talking about, this truth becomes a universal truth that many people can relate to. And it is a point of connection between you and them. And this is where storytelling can really serve you well. Because now, after people hear your story, they will feel connected. When they feel connected, and then they see what you're doing, like your offer, your program, your service, whatever it is that you do, they're going, oh yeah, I would like to do this because I feel connected to this person. I'm drawn to working with this particular person. I've been talking with different people and looking around, and this person I resonate with. And that is where you start moving the needle. Then, after people feel connected with you, that's when you can be doing lots more value giving, information giving, showing how to. And when you're doing that and people are feeling connected with you, it works much, much better. So if this is resonating, I want to see some comments. I want to see who's here. If you're here, say hello. Tell me where you're from. And so on. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you this woman's video. And we'll just play a little clip of it and you'll see, you're going to hear her story and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. So let's see. Let's put this on. Go like this. There she is. So let me just start playing this and we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Turn that off over there and then we'll go here, start playing the video.
The difference between confidence and cocky. I used to literally, my blood type is vegan. I used to literally be shameful about myself. Okay, we're gonna have a little story time before I start boiling these green beans. I grew up in East Orlando, Orange Groves, before UCF was a huge ass thing and the city was just populated with tourists. Like I grew up with Orange Grove, like people who spoke like this and everyone was country and everyone had an accent and I was the oddball. I used to loathe myself. I used to hate the fact that I had a big butt, that I had big legs, that I had big lips, that my skin tone looked this way, that my hair was curly because I didn't look like the typical white girl. Because guess what? I'm not white. I'm a mixed Latina from Puerto Rico who has Taino, African and Spaniard genes in her DNA, and this is what made me me. And it took me a really long ass time to be okay with my body because I used to play volleyball, track and field, and I did competition cheerleading, and no one looked like me. I was the thickest, the chubbiest person. And now, as I got older, people literally pay for the things that are naturally on my body. And that was like a change in my mindset that I'm like, why do I hate myself so much? Like, this is who I am. Like, this is how God made me, and I'm not okay with that. So I'm sorry, my friend, that you feel, triggered by my confidence. I hope that is something that you can work towards so that you can feel better within your own skin versus projecting it on somebody else. Sorry.
All right. So tell me, do you feel connected? Did any of what she had to say resonate with you? I mean, this is a very powerful personal story, very powerful personal journey that she was on. And, you know, this whole thing of feeling empowered around your body self-image and how you feel about how you look and how you feel about just being comfortable in your own body. I mean, this is a huge thing. It's particularly huge for young women. It's extremely huge for a young woman who is doing a live stream on a platform like Reddit, which is basically overrun with a bunch of young men who often are not particularly kind and often will act like trolls over there. And here she is being brave and showing up and being really, you know, vulnerable and very down to earth and very, you know, like, okay, this is me. This is just me. Very empowering message. And so, you know, how could it change your world if you decided to start showing up like that? And I mean, I don't know if you've ever read any of the work by Brene Brown. This is a whole arena that she talks about. And, you know, this thing of how we deal with our own shame and how we deal with our own vulnerability. And in the old school way of looking at the world, vulnerability, being vulnerable, seen as a sign of weakness. But actually, and I got this from one of Brene's TED Talks, she was saying, have you ever seen anybody, like this woman that we just saw on Reddit, have you ever seen anybody being vulnerable, whether it's on stage or on video or just in any kind of conversation? And did you ever think, after watching them, that that was a sign of weakness? Think about that. And immediately for me, it's like, no, anytime everybody's seen anybody show up and show themselves in this way, like really reveal something about themselves, it's always been a sign of strength. I've always thought this person has a lot of courage to be able to get up and do that. And at the same time, whatever it is that they're talking about, often I'll feel connected to. I'll feel empathy. This is the thing. I will feel empathy. And so if you want to communicate empowerment, empathy, you want people to connect with you, this is the way to do it. And you can tell, you don't actually have to bare your soul. You can tell other stories. You can tell other people's stories. You can tell a story from a book. You can tell a story from a film that you saw. You can tell a story about some past client without naming names. You know, you can tell all kinds of stories. And when you do, when you're talking about this kind of thing, like anything that people can connect with and resonate with, they will connect with you. And the piece about this that's most powerful is that when there's emotional content in the story that you tell, when there's an actual emotional component, this is where people will, you know, they will actually have the same feeling, the same emotional experience as the character in the story. This is the way our brains are wired. And no matter how much thing you might be doing with giving information and sharing all the information that you have to share, what people will remember is not all that information. They will remember the story that you told. And they'll remember it because of how it made them feel. So I'm going to say that one more time. Rather than sharing all this information, people won't remember all the information. You could say, okay, I'm going to give you 5 tips today. And an hour later, they're going to forget all, 4 out of 5. But if you tell one story, if you connect this thing that you're giving, this thing that you're talking about with a story that resonates, with a story that has emotion, this is what they'll remember. They'll remember the story because of how it made them feel. They'll remember the story because of the emotional content. And because of the emotional content, because you made them feel something, they will connect. They'll be connecting with you. And when people feel connected, that is when they're more willing to buy. And so in my previous videos, I talked about the number one thing to do in your video when you're coming to the marketplace and you're wanting to get people's attentions. You want to challenge popular beliefs. You want to bust the myths. You want to take people's conventional wisdom and you want to challenge it and show them that there's a new way. And that is very attention getting. And that is one kind of video that you want to make. The second kind is this. You want to use story to create a connection with your audience so that they're feeling this emotion of the story. They're feeling the triumph of the journey. And once they're feeling connected with you, now they're ready. Number one, you have challenged their belief. And so now they're going, okay, now I know that there's a new way to do this stuff that's going to be better for me. And so now you've got their attention. Now you've told some stories so that they feel connected with you and they go, this is the person that I want to listen to. Now you can start teaching things. You can start showing them how to do stuff. And now you can be giving your educational content. You be giving your value-driven content, and people will be way more receptive. They're going to be way more ready to take in what you have to give, the gifts that you bring. And when it comes time for you to make that offer, now 80 to 90% of the selling that you might have to do will already be done. It'll all be done. And you'll be, like, okay, they'll be ready to come in and join you in whatever program or service or product that you have to offer. And that's my main thing for today. That's what I wanted to cover, using storytelling. And I want to say that I'm offering a masterclass in how to use story to sell. How to tell stories that sell. That's the name of the masterclass. And this masterclass is coming right up. If you're interested, just write in the comments, I want to tell a story. Say, just write storytelling. Write that word. And I'll make sure that I get back to you and I'll give you a link to join the masterclass. And I actually have a formula for doing this. So whatever story you want to tell, I have a 4-step, it's very simple, 4-step template that you can use that takes you from, I'm going to tell the story and I'm going to move people to a place where they're ready to buy. And this works really well. It's really simple to do. And oh my gosh, once you learn this, you can start going live and you can start making videos. And every time you do one, you can tell a simple story and you can move people from people who've never heard of you to feeling connected with you and connected to the story that you told, and then motivated. Like, this is the most important part. They'll be motivated to take action. Whatever call to action that you have at the end of your video, they'll be motivated to do it. So if you're feeling motivated, write storytelling. Eva says, storytelling. Excellent, Eva. I'll make sure that I follow up with you. And Elizabeth is also saying, yes, I'm interested. That's great, both you guys. So I'll make sure that I'll keep you in the loop. And yeah, that's what I have for you today. I just, I really just happened to be on Reddit and I was just roaming around because I knew about the live streaming over there. And I knew about how people were, going in these different rooms. And I would just want to say, okay, well, what is going on? Because I don't go to Reddit much. And on this one person, and right during the time that I was watching her for just a few minutes, she told this great story about, gaining self-confidence in herself and her body and sort of being basically, the story of being like the odd person out, like nobody is like me, and telling that particular story. And like, I don't come from Puerto Rico. I come from Nova Scotia, and Nova Scotia is probably just as different from anywhere in the United States as Puerto Rico is. There's big differences in Nova Scotia. It's kind of, people don't see it as clearly. It's an invisible difference, but I'm still a family of immigrants. My parents were Canadian when I was born, although I was actually born here in the United States, but my parents were still Canadian. My sister was born in Canada. All the rest of my family, all my uncles and aunts and cousins and grandparents, they're all born in Canada. And me, I was the first generation born here in the United States. So immigrant family. And I'll tell you, coming, as an immigrant family, there are differences. There are big differences between Canada and the United States. Anybody who's Canadian knows this. And of course, now that I've been living in the States so long, when I go back to Canada, it feels like I don't belong in either place in many ways. And if you are a person who's moved like I have, you probably have that same kind of feeling. Like, where's my true home? Anyway, these kinds of stories bring connection. And if you're interested in that storytelling workshop, just say storytelling, and I will tune you in. And another thing that I'm going to say, I'll say one more thing. While I'm here, I have been in this great podcasting course. It just started a few weeks ago, and it runs for another probably 6 more weeks. And I am finally going to make an audio podcast. And I've been wanting to do this for so long, and now I'm going to do it. And it's going to be called The Livestream Show. So, here I have my new logo. This is my new logo right here, The Livestream Show. And what will happen in the Livestream Show is that every week I will put out a new audio podcast. In fact, it's going to be a live streamed production. And so I'll be going live like this. Usually I will have a guest, but sometimes, at least once a month, I am going to have co-hosts who are guests, like my guest co-hosts, and there'll be 2 or 3 of us, and we will form a panel. And before that episode, we will solicit people to submit a video that they've made, whether it's a live video or a pre-recorded video. They will submit a video based on some topic or theme. And we will choose some of those videos, just like the one that I just showed you. We'll just choose a couple of videos and we'll have you on as another guest. And so we'll come on, we'll watch your video, and then we'll talk about it. And we'll talk about how great it was. And we'll talk about what could be made even better and give encouragement like that. And I'm really excited about doing this particular thing because there are so many people doing really cool stuff, like, you know, even simple things like what we just saw earlier in this video, really powerful messaging, really powerful storytelling, very simple, but still very effective. And these are the things that I want to be pointing to and showing great examples of. And I want you guys to participate. So, for example, one of the reasons that I'm doing my storytelling workshop is because I want a bunch of people to be in that workshop, and I want them to go out and make video telling a story, and then I want to have them submit those, and then we'll use them in a future episode of the live stream show. So this is your chance. Join the workshop, tell a story, and then we'll bring you on as a guest in an upcoming episode. Think of that. All right, so I think I'm going to call it good. I'm just take a look at the comments here, see if there are any more people joining. And that's what I've got for you today. And I'm signing off. Stay tuned next week when we are here again every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'll see you then. So long, everyone.